Hello again. Today we'll be going over my 5-step process to making a YouTube video. Planning, scripting, filming, editing, and posting. And post-posting. Seems simple enough, and that's because it is. Now. But when I first started a year ago, it was not so straightforward. I had the basic idea down, but now I have a process that makes it so much easier and faster. These things take time to learn. 1 year for me, but only
6
minutes and
7
seconds for you. Lucky you. What makes a good video? Something you're passionate about, something your audience is passionate about, and meet in the middle. I'll go through all this later, but this is my brainstorming, brain dumping area. Whenever I have an idea for a video, I throw it in the general ideas category. If it's a specific category that I could make a series out of, it gets its own little board. Usually on Friday nights, I'll pop on Spotify, open up Notion, and start generating ideas. Eventually, I sift them further into duds, needs refinement, or great ideas. You should have a lot more ideas in the first 2 categories. At the end of the month, I'll pick 4 or 5 topics from my great ideas category. Notion makes it easy to drag them into my upload schedule calendar where I assign them to a Thursday. That way, I have a month's worth of video ideas ready, but I'm flexible with it. Sometimes last-second ideas manage to replace my well-thought-out process, but that's how my brain works. For better or for worse. You decide. Now I can narrow in on each video, which leads me to my next step, scripting a video. Is it important? Some YouTubers get by with a simple outline. My brain thinks in circles when I do that, so I need to write a script word for word. Word for word. So how do I write a good script? I don't. But I try my best. In college, my political science professor introduced us to the MacJ writing approach. It has enhanced my writing more than any English class that I have ever taken in my entire life. First, write like a madman. Brain dump your ideas, figure out your baseline arguments, ideas, observations, whatever. There are no rules here. Then, become an architect. Structure your disorganized mess into a nice storyline. Since YouTube is emphasizing more on its chapters feature now, I try to structure my script in the same way. Every heading eventually becomes a chapter in my YouTube descriptions. Third, you take on the role of carpenter, where you can perfect your wording. Cross your I's and dot your T's. I use an app called Hemingway, which does a great job of telling you your writing sucks. When a 4th grader can read my script, I become the judge. This is where you kill your darlings. Cut out anything that's too repetitive or unnecessary. Figure out what to emphasize. This is also a good time to add notes about film location and B-roll. I found it helpful to color code location if you're filming out of order like I did for my Halloween story. Your future self will thank you. I'm going to be honest, I hate filming, which seems a little counterintuitive considering I'm making a YouTube video, but whatever. For this recipe, you will need a microphone, good lighting, and a camera. Of course, your results may vary depending on your equipment. My recommendation is to start with what you have. For me, that was my webcam, my 6-year-old USB microphone, and the kitchen chandelier. My advice is to hold off on upgrading your tools. After you make your first few videos, you start to recognize patterns for improvement. That's a good time to do some research about what could make your videos better, so don't worry about your equipment right now. It's easy to go overboard or buy things you never use. But with that said, here's what I ended up upgrading to. I inherited my boyfriend's old microphone and audio interface. I also bought this lavalier mic about a month ago, and I love him. Look how tiny he is. For lighting, I bought these 2 softboxes. It gives me more time in the day to film without sacrificing quality. And I upgraded my camera to a little handheld camcorder. My goal is to have an easy setup so that I can't make excuses. To make it even easier, sometimes I still use my webcam. But anyway, for the actual process of filming, I do a little 5-minute vocal warm-up before recording, and then I go for it. After I've gotten all my footage, I import everything into a desktop folder for the current video. Then I open Final Cut Pro and get to work. I use Final Cut Pro for my main videos and an app called Velo for shorts or quick edits. In the past, I've tried out DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere, but they're a bit overkill for what I need, and I hate Adobe. So, when cutting down my footage, I find it's easiest to start off by reading the waveforms. There are usually long sections where I repeat the same phrase over and over, so I save time by skimming over each transient until I'm saying something different. Then I cut everything except the last take. Later I can go back and see if I liked a different delivery better, but usually the last take is fine. After everything's all chopped up, I slap on an adjustment layer. My camcorder has pretty much no saturation at all, so I have to add that in. I'm also an emix, so I like to add more red to bring some life into my face. Then I add my titles, b-roll, effects, crops, and call it a day. I wish. Next up is audio processing, which I'm still learning, and it takes up about 70% of my editing time. I usually end up over-processing my audio, which is another problem, but I'm working on it, okay? For this, my main tools are the Acusona Suite and the Pro-Q tool from FabFilter. Lately, this has been the mouth declicker, noise remover, and a de-esser. I also slap on Pro-Q to get rid of the boxy sound imposed by the noise remover. I know a lot of my internet friends are audiophiles, so if you have any tips here, that would be great. After I've torn out all my hair from processing audio, I look for some sound effects and background music. I mostly use YouTube's standard audio library for this, but recently I've been browsing Thematic as well. Usually the background music gets lowered to -25 or even -30 decibels. I also like to EQ out the mid-range to make room for my vocals that I just spent 24 hours processing. This is a great time to add the song credits to the video description template on Notion so you don't forget. Finally, I watched the whole video all the way through. This helps to find some quick mistakes, but also to give me a good idea of the pacing. If some parts feel too slow or don't make sense, I either work on them some more or cut them out completely. And now we post. Well, I scheduled a post. Thursday at 6 p.m. You have to schedule in advance because post-posting takes up a lot of time. The thumbnail and title are more important than the video itself. I don't take this advice too seriously yet, but I should. Usually, I take a screenshot from the video and edit it into a thumbnail in an app called Snow. I then import it into a website called Thumbs Up TV. I like to test out a couple iterations of the thumbnail and title until it looks like something I would click on. But this approach needs a little more refinement. A lot of YouTubers suggest thinking of your title and thumbnail before you even sit down to write your script. I usually end up forgetting to do that. Some YouTubers also recommend A/B testing your titles and thumbnails. I usually forget to do that too. Anyway, I finished up the video's description by filling in the gray areas in my Notion template. Now it's ready to paste into the YouTube description. Tags aren't important anymore, but there's no harm in adding them. I don't know, this is how to make a YouTube video, not SEO 101. And now I'm done. I used to use this time to prepare posts for Twitter and Instagram, but I stopped promoting my videos. I only have a Discord bot that announces when it goes live. This is nice because I'm still working at 6 p.m. on Thursdays. Anyway, on to the next one. If you're interested in more YouTube advice, I made a video about that last week, and next week I'll be posting more about my Notion setup. So as always, thank you for watching. Don't pet sweaty things, don't sweat petty things.